Hi, everybody. It's Wendy. I'm here for a chair yoga class with you guys. I hope you're all doing well with the staying at home and that you're maybe cleaning your closets or whatever to keep yourselves busy. I think this is exactly the thing we need to be doing, and I think we need to be doing it for a little bit longer. So maybe classes will help us. Maybe online classes will help us to stay calm and busy. So you can do this video over and over, all these videos over and over again if you want to. I'll send you a link, and this time I'm also going to send you a document. And that document is, I may just cut and paste it into the, anyway, that document is about boosting the immune system. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today, and also do a little bit that is good for the immune system. And also good for the vagus nerve, which is the nerve that governs our relaxation response. It is a very large nerve in the body. And when we get stressed, that nerve gets stressed, and sometimes it doesn't relax. It thinks we're in flight or fight, and it doesn't relax until we do some other things to help it relax. So we're going to talk about some of that today. So begin by closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If you're not comfortable with the eyes closed, you could look down at the floor, but don't look at anything interesting. Have a very soft gaze. And notice the stimuli around you. You might hear sounds. With the eyes closed or a soft gaze, you might notice that there is light in the room, but you're not focusing on any objects, just noticing that the eyes pick up on the light. If you move your head a little to one side or the other, you notice that the eyes are seeing light and shadow, dark. And we notice the touch of the buttocks on the chair. The touch of the feet on the floor or inside your shoes or your slippers. Isn't it fun to be able to practice together with our slippers on? And notice that in the midst of all this stimulus, all these stimuli, that there's also the inner experience. And we notice that the breath is coming and going. It's breathing the body. The body is exhaling the breath. Being as relaxed as you can in the body so that as you inhale, the body receives the breath, allows the breath to come in. And the breath is breathing you. As you exhale, there's a little bit of effort drawing in like you're squeezing the waist in a little bit and getting tall. Just not adjusting the breath so much, just adjusting the posture, getting a little bit taller. Each breath in, you're relaxing around the breath. each breath out, just let it go, slowly letting it go. Your breath might be longer than mine or shorter than mine. So when I say to breathe in, maybe it's when I'm ready to breathe in. But you breathe in and out anytime you're ready. You're in seated Tadasana. Tadasana is the mountain pose. The sit bones are moving down, the tailbone and the pubic bone are moving down, and the head is moving up. As you inhale, you might notice you relax just a little bit and the breath fills some part of your body. You may notice it more at the chest or at the back of the chest. You may notice it down in the floor of the pelvis as the diaphragm pushes the internal organs down toward the floor of the pelvis. And we'll take a breath in and let it go with a sigh. A quick exhale. One more. Inhale. And let it go. Observing that there may be a pause after the exhalation. You can just let it be there. Or there might be a pause after the inhalation. You can let that be there. And then the breath turns around and goes into the opposite phase. And this is a little mindfulness practice that you could do many times a day. It only takes a few minutes just to sit and observe. Noticing the mind and whether the mind is busy or not busy. No judgment on what is coming from the mind. No judgment on the fact that there are thoughts there. No judgment on the emotions that might be there. Just recognizing them. Sometimes when we're going through a challenging time, we don't even notice that there are these thoughts going on all the time, or we don't even notice that the breath stops and maybe doesn't come back for a while. So any stop in the breath, we're allowing to be there, but we don't want it to be a holding. Just notice that it's there. When you're ready for the next phase, let it come in and relax around it. Thoughts come and go. The breath comes and goes. You might open your awareness up to all the stimuli that might come in. One will come in, you'll notice it. Another comes in and you don't even pay attention. You don't even notice. But sometimes you are drawn to a particular stimulus. And you notice it. Thought. Light. Breath. Shoulders relaxed. Face relaxed. The throat moves back toward the wall a little bit so that there's length in the back of the neck. The neck has a lot of effect on the breath. If we close it down in the back, kind of closes the breath down too. So see if you can feel the breath actually affecting the back of the neck. That when the back of the neck is relaxed and open, the breath kind of moves in there a little bit. And the back of the lungs are the biggest part of the lungs. So we're going to put our hands on the rib cage. Thumbs wrap around the back and the fingers in the front, unless that's uncomfortable for you, and then you can just place your hands on the front of the ribs. But if you can, have your thumbs on the back of the ribs and inhale into the palms at the sides of the ribs. And now we're going to affect it a little bit as you exhale. Press in with the palms. As you inhale, the breath opens the ribs. And as you exhale, the rib cage closes in and the hands push into the side ribs. One more time, inhale into the hands. And exhale and press in. Now see if you can be aware of the breath at the back of the ribs. So put your thumbs against the back ribs. As you inhale, see if you can breathe into the thumbs. And as you exhale, press the thumbs forward and empty the lungs. Open the chest. Inhale. Breathe into the back. Breathe into the thumbs. Exhale. Draw the thumbs toward the front body and empty the back of the lungs. Come back to your hands being on the thighs and relax. Still, you may notice the breath filling the side ribs or the breath filling the back ribs. In each exhalation, relaxing, lengthening, softening. Now, before we move away from just sitting with our eyes closed, we're going to, I picked a card out of the basket, and it was practice gratitude daily. So let's have a moment of gratitude. As you notice what you're grateful for, bring a little smile to your lips. It doesn't have to be anything anyone else would ever notice. And yet you know you're smiling. And notice that your internal organs are smiling too, because that message of the smile reaches every part of the body. And as you continue to breathe just for another moment, feel the joy of that gratitude. Notice how that joy reaches into every part of your body. Reaches into every thought, every aspect of the body. So now open your eyes, and you have your ankles underneath your knees and your hands on your knees. And you may watch me this time because I'm not sure how long it's been since we've done this. I think we have done it, but not for a long time. So you're going to inhale and round the back so the back ribs fill with the breath. And exhale and come forward, pushing the back ribs toward the front ribs and going, leaning forward. Inhale, round up. This is lion pose. Exhale, growl. I'll let all the air out. Inhale, round. So this is good for emptying the lower lobes of the lungs and filling the back lungs with fresh air. And this next time, when we do the growl, we inhale and round and cross the eyes and leave the eyes open. Inhale one more time. Exhale, eyes crossed. And inhale back up again. Aligning the shoulders over the hips and reaching the arms behind a little bit, opening the chest. Inhale and reach up with the right arm. Exhale and lean over to the left, but keep a straight line from the right hip to the right hand. And as you exhale, come back to center. Inhale up. And exhale over toward one side. Keep a straight line from the left hip to the left fingers. Really reaching. Inhale. As you exhale, come back up. Inhale over. Reach as you exhale, come back up. And you can go in your own breath rhythm, inhaling up and over and exhaling back, inhaling up and over. So 2 more times to each side. I stayed. Inhale up. Exhale over. Inhale up. Exhale over. Back to center. Now do an inhale up with the right hand. Take the arm behind your ear as you exhale. Hold on to the chair with your left hand and reach across. You can bend that left elbow. Reach across. Look up at the arm. Maybe look up at the hand, but at least look up at the inner arm. Turn a little bit toward the ceiling and breathe. And as you exhale, come back to center. Inhale up with the left arm, arm behind the ear. As you exhale, bend the right arm, hand on the chair, and keep reaching, turning the torso a little bit to look up at the left hand or the left arm. Breathing. And as you exhale, come back to center. Inhale, reach up and form a pitchfork. As you exhale, drop your chin and squeeze the shoulder blades together. You want your chin dropped so that you don't feel like you're squeezing your neck, pinching your neck. The neck is nice and long and you're squeezing the shoulder blades together. Inhale, bring the palms together in the elbows and reach up. Exhale, spread the elbows, reach down with the heels of your hands toward the lap. Inhale, form a pitchfork, drop your head. As you exhale, squeeze together. Inhale, bring the elbows together, the palms together, and reach up with the elbows together. And exhale, spread the elbows and reach down with the palms together. One more time. Inhale, pitchfork, drop the head. Squeeze together as you breathe. Inhale, bring the elbows and palms together and reach up. Exhale, spread the elbows and reach down, palms still together. Inhale, shake out. Hands together, hands working together, drawing figure eights. The hands going in the same direction. Watch your hands, don't watch me. Get to the top, come down that same side and back up again. So now you're going in the opposite direction, but the hands are still moving together. And one way feels more natural, probably the first way. For some reason, we go to our natural way first. Unless you have to be ambidextrous. Shake out. Rest for just a moment. Now we're going to do figure eights going in opposite directions. Right hand going one direction, left hand going the other direction. And it's like we are conducting an orchestra. Now watch your own hands, don't watch mine. You come up to the top and then back down that same side and going in the opposite direction to what each hand was going before. And again, you probably did what felt most natural before, and now it feels maybe a little unnatural. Shake out, coming up, shaking out. And now reduce that shaking by half and the distance to the floor by half. And then reduce that by half. And reduce that by half. Inhale and relax. We're going to make the sound. This is good for our immune system. It is good for the vagus nerve. Take a breath in. The lion pose, by the way, was good for the immune system, good for the vagus nerve. Deep breath. Exhale. Inhale. And a third time, listen to the sound come back after the third time. Take a breath in and relax. All right, so we're going to take the right arm out and watch the fingertips. Left hand comes across to the right thigh. Watch the fingertips get tall as you inhale. As you exhale, watching the fingertips, don't lose sight of the fingertips. Come around behind as far as you can come and notice how far you can go and still see your fingertips. Mark that spot. Inhale and come back. Exhale. Take the left hand and rub your neck. And as you're rubbing your neck, keep your eyes open. Rubbing the neck, get any places that are sore, rub especially where it's sore. And look up and down. Look with your eyes, look with your face. Don't close your eyes, rub your neck. And then come to center and draw circles with your nose. Still your eyes open. Circles get larger and larger and larger. Go back the other way. From larger to smaller. Inhale, relax. Exhale, reach across with the left hand to the right thigh. Reach out with the right arm. Inhale and get tall. And as you exhale, watching the fingers come around and see how far you can go this time. Mark that spot and see if it's a little farther. If you're really close to a wall, you won't notice as much difference. But if you're far from a wall, the wall that you're looking at behind you, then you'll notice maybe more distance, a lot of distance maybe. Inhale. As you exhale, bring the right hand across to the left thigh and reach out your left arm. Inhale, get tall, long in the rib cage. Exhale, reach around behind. Keep looking at the fingers and mark how far you could go and still see the fingers. Inhale and come back. With the right hand, rub the neck and look up and down. Eyes look up and down, face looks up and down, rubbing out any tension in the neck, where the neck meets the shoulders. Back to center. Look at your nose. Draw tiny circles with the nose. Rubbing the neck, circles get larger and larger and larger and larger. Go back the other way from larger to smaller, looking at the nose if you can, and then release. Exhale, reach across with the right hand, reach out with the left, breath in, get tall. As you exhale, come around and mark how far you can go and still see your fingertips. And then come back and observe. Looking up, looking down, looking up, eyes and face, looking up, looking down, back to center. Breath in. As you exhale, look to the right, leave your left shoulder back. Inhale. As you exhale, look to the left, leave your right shoulder back. Inhale. In your own breath rhythm, as you exhale, you turn to the next side and you inhale at that point. Whenever you're ready to exhale again, turn to the second side. In your own rhythm. And back to center when you have done the left side. So we're going to work on the psoas today a little bit. The psoas comes from the inside of the groin, at the top of the femur there, the thigh bone. And it goes up into the pelvis, and it joins with another muscle, and they become one. And then it joins into the rib cage, and for some people, it is at the bottom of your diaphragm. And the psoas is what lets us bring our leg up toward our chest, and what keeps us from dropping our leg off of our body. It holds the leg on. And it gets shorter when we sit more. So right now, you may be sitting a lot. I don't know. Or you might be doing a lot more exercise than you usually do. I don't have any idea what you're doing. But if you are sitting more, then this is going to shorten up. And because it is attached to the spine, it begins to pull on the spine as it gets shorter. And it also may keep you from having as deep a breath as it gets shorter. So we're going to lengthen it a little bit. And we're going to turn to one side. We're going to turn to the left. And if you have a book or a block, you can take that book or block and put it underneath your left buttock as you're turning to the left. And you might have your hand on the back of the chair. And you're going to reach your right leg back with the top of the right foot on the floor, not the underside of the toes, but the top of the toes, the top of the arch of the foot. Reach it back, and as much as you can, bring the torso, bring the torso over, bring the shoulders over the hips. If that's too much for the lower back, that's because that psoas is tight. So if you can't get your shoulders over your hips, then you can lean forward just a little bit to reduce that stress. But as you're working, reach back with that back leg and see if you can start to find a place where the body's okay, coming back closer to being over the hips. The shoulders are okay being closer to over the hips, and yet the front of the leg is not being overstretched. Doesn't hurt. All right, take a breath in and bring that foot back. Breath in. This time you're going to reach back with the underside of the toes on the floor. And there's a tendency to leave this leg bent. And you're going to work toward that edge where you can make it as straight as it's good for you to have the leg, and you're comfortable in the lower back. So how do we straighten the leg? Well, we take the front of the thigh back toward the back of the thigh, and we reach the heel away from the front of the hip. So we're doing those two things, and you might feel it in your lower back, in which case you might be leaning out over the front of the thigh. You can hold on to the back of the chair and help you balance a little bit more. And as much as you can, you're going to bring the shoulders over the hips, but don't let the chest stick out a lot. Bring the rib cage back with it. So it's not a real overarch in the lower back. You're really working on long for this muscle that hooks into the lower back, and long in the back leg as you bring the front of the thigh toward the back of the thigh and the heel reaches away. Breathing. And exhale and relax. Take the block or the book away. Go to the other side. Put the block or the book underneath your buttocks. And of course, you know, many of you don't like to use the block anyway, but I should have reminded you that I was going to do this and you could have had a book ready, but you can always stop your video and go get your book if you need to. And if you like to be up high, then that's a way to be up high. Another way is to use a taller chair, and then that might feel better too. All right, so starting with the top of the foot on the floor and reaching away. Breathing, bringing the shoulders over the hips, draw the rib cage back a little bit, and work into straightening that leg, push into the floor, push the top of the foot into the floor, and relax. So we're going to go back now with the toes on the floor. And we're going to work into having that leg straight. It might be hard to do that and have the shoulders over your hips. So you might have to lean forward a little bit and work on getting the legs straight, doing only one of them at a time. And you're working the front of the thigh into the back of the thigh, and the heel moves away from the hip. So work into that, and as much as you can, bring your shoulders over your hips, working right at that edge where you can accept the stretch. You're not in pain. You're just doing as much as you can. And the higher up you get, the easier it is to straighten that back leg. And release. And we're going to do this one more time to each side. So go back to the left. And this time we're going to do it with the toes, bottom of the toes on the floor. And this time we're going to be using the right arm to stretch that right psoas. Okay, so take a breath in, reach back into the heel, reach the front of the thigh up into the back of the top thigh. Looking down, inhale and reach the right arm up. Feel that stretch. Exhale down. Inhale up. A little more stretch. Work on straightening that back leg. Exhale down. This time, if you'd like, you can look up. It's more of a stretch, but it might be good for you. See how it is. And as you exhale, relax. And go to the other side. Take that left foot back. You're facing the right. You're working the right leg into straightness by moving the front of the thigh into the back of the thigh and then lengthening through the heel. The bottom, the ball of the foot, the toes are on the floor. Now the left arm. It's the left leg back, left arm stretching. Looking down, inhale the arm up. It's a little more stretch. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And now inhale. And if you'd like, you can look up, and that's even more stretch. And exhale, relax. And release the block. Just going to give my timer a little power there. And resting. So we'll make the ooh sound. Take a breath in. And breath in. And whenever you're ready, the third time, and afterwards, just listen for the sound to come back. So we're going to stand up. You can take off your socks if you have socks on. Hopefully you have a non-stick surface that you can work on. So we're going to put the chair ahead, stand behind the chair, or you don't have to move your chair. I don't have enough room to not move my chair. All right, so I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit. You may not be able to see my feet, but you can see my head. You can see my my hips. All right, so standing behind the chair, you can have a hand on the chair. We're going to do triangle first. And let me give you a little clue that you're going to be looking for. All right, there's a connection between the inside of the right knee and the outside of the left hip. And that connection, if you draw the hip around too much, will cause the knee to drop in. If you can let the knee determine how far you're going to turn the hip out, then the knee can stay healthy. So we have the knee bent initially, and we're going to line it up with the middle of the foot and bring the buttock in right over the line between the 2 feet. The right buttock is over that line, and it lines up with the middle of the front foot as well. Now the back hip, the left hip, you're going to turn it back as far as it can go without affecting the front knee. So turning it back so that the torso faces a little bit toward the front. But if that doesn't work for you without pulling the knee out of alignment or making it feel like there's discomfort in the inner knee, then you bring the pelvis back around again. Bring that hip back around again. It's a relationship which you honor between the front knee, the inner front knee, and the outer hip. And the knee is in control of that. You are careful with the knee. Now we're going to begin to push into the floor with the right foot and to swing the hips toward the left. And as you swing the hips toward the left, you're dropping the right ribs. And the right ribs are really long. Tuck the buttocks in behind its foot on the front leg and lean back just a little bit. Now you can hold on to the chair with your right hand, your forward leg's hand. And look at your shoulder, left shoulder, and roll the shoulder up and back, and the head goes with it. So you may not go very far. It's okay. Inhale all the way up if you can with your left hand. But if that doesn't work, don't worry about it. You can have your hand on your hip, and you're just rolling that shoulder back. And the back body fills with the breath, which is really good for those lower back ribs, lower back lungs. We want to keep the lungs having healthy air in them. Empty them out whenever we can. So as you empty the bottom lungs, the rib cage moves toward the lungs and the lungs empty out. Inhale, round into the ribs. Exhale, empty from the lower ribs, from the lower lungs. Roll the shoulder back. Breathing, bending that front knee and coming back up. Going to the other side. So you feel the alignment on the front knee. That right hip can just come around and you look at the front leg. You both with the pelvis and with the head, and you're going to line up the front knee, the sit bone on the front with the front knee in the middle of the foot. Now the back foot, the right foot, is going to reach into the outside edge of the right foot, and that will turn that right hip out just a little bit, but you don't want to feel any pressure on the inside of the left knee. Now the left foot pushes into the floor, the left hand pushes the hips to the right. And if it feels like there's too much going on the inside edge of that left knee, then you bring the right hip toward the left a little bit. You turn the pelvis a little bit counterclockwise. Remember, the knee on the left is the deciding factor. If the knee feels comfortable, then you're fine. You can turn that other side, the right side out, if the knee is comfortable. Now, you can bring the hand down on the leg, don't push on the knee, or you can leave it in the hip joint, or you can put the hand on the chair, left hand on the chair, pushing into the floor with the left foot and swinging the hips to the right. Look at your shoulder with your head turned to the right. Roll the shoulder up and back and reach the arm up. Long neck. You don't have to reach the arm up. You can put your hand on your hip and roll the shoulder back. That's fine. And you're filling those back lungs and emptying them. As you turn, it's like squeezing a dishcloth. You're just emptying. Inhale. Emptying. And then coming back up. So this is good for the immune system, especially good for the lungs, which right now we want to have really healthy lungs. And so that emptying of the lower back and filling of the lower back is hitting the deepest part of the lungs. All right, so turn your chair so that your right hip is against the back of the chair. And breathing, we're going to bring the left foot, turn it out, and put the foot on the floor. Right hip just barely touches the back of the chair. Or you might bring it up higher. You might bring the foot onto the calf. Or you might be able to bring it up into the thigh. Just don't put it on the inside edge of the knee and pull down with the knee. And the outside edge of the hip is moving in toward the left. And you can maybe hold on to your, I'm slipping a little bit. These pants aren't very good. Okay, I'm going to put my leg down because it's slipping. That's better. So if you're struggling in a pose, it is better not to be struggling to have a sense of calm in the body, even if you don't go as far. So these pants have a little bit of synthetic in them, and they're making my foot slip, or maybe my foot is dry and it's slipping. So I'm just going to leave it down here below the knee. Breathing might be stretching up with your arms, bringing the arms in close to the ears, interlacing the fingers, pointing the pointing fingers up. Reach down into the downward foot. Reach into the downward heel. And breathing. It's good you can't see yourself in the video. The video is backwards to me. What is left is right, what is right is left. And I get confused when I'm watching about what I'm doing. I just got to stay in my body because it gets confusing. And then release. And we'll go to the other side. I'm going to keep my timer going here. All right, so your left hip is near the back of the chair. And you're going to turn your right foot out. And bring your right foot, or either put the ball of the foot on the floor and just have your right heel over the ankle, or bringing the foot up into the inside of the left leg, or bringing the foot up to the inside of the left leg. I'm going to leave mine at my calf. And you'll be bringing the hands together in namaste, or you could have one hand on the chair, only one hand in namaste. You could reach one arm or both arms. You could interlace the fingers, point the pointing fingers up, turn the right leg out, and reach down into the left heel. Feel as you reach into the left heel how the front elongates, the abdomen drops in, and the breath is still coming and going. You might feel you reach up a little bit as you inhale, and the arms relax down a little bit as you exhale. And as you exhale the next time, release. Put the chair back. And come in front of the chair, but don't sit down yet. So you could sit down. You can have your hands and touch the chair and know that you could sit down. And then you're going to reach out in front. And as you bend the knees, you're not trying to get really low, but you're trying to go back with the hips and back farther and back farther. And as you do, you will get a little lower, and then push off with your feet and come back up. This should not be a stress for your knees. Only go as far as your knees are going to be happy. And you're doing a lot of this work from the abdomen. Inhale, reach out. As you exhale, you bend a little bit. You go back, 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 back. And as you go back, you go down a little bit, back, 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 and then push off with your feet and come back up. This is not squats. This is different. Exhale and relax. You've got to be really reaching this time. We're going to sit down, but be really reaching back until you sit. Inhale, reach out, exhale. Bend the knees. They point toward the middle of your feet, and you go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. There it is. Okay, breathing and observing. So we are going to do the third sound, the sound. Now you might do ooh for a moment and then go into the long. Take a breath in. Another breath in. The third time, when you stop the sound, watch that the sound might come back to you. Listen for the sound. Feel the body relaxing, softening. I'm going to go ahead and go into relaxation, and then after relaxation, I'll talk to you about these 3 ways to boost your immune system. So go ahead and go into Shavasana, seated Shavasana, so that you are relaxing. You might move yourself back to the back of your chair and relax with your back against the chair. If you do that, some chairs will tip you back because the front of the seat is higher than the back of the seat, in which case you might want to put something underneath your buttocks so that it props you up a bit, or you might want to take your pubic bone and move it toward the floor. And we're observing after the effort, the relaxation. In every pose we do, there's some effort and there's some relaxation. In some poses, there's more effort and less relaxation, but we're always looking to bring more relaxation into every pose. In this pose, there's a lot of relaxation, and we don't want very much effort. The only effort you need to be making is to turn your attention toward the experience. And as we observe the body, we notice places that the body is tight, tense, making effort. Whether it needs to or not, it's making effort. And we relax those places. We soften across the forehead. We soften the brain back toward the back of the head. We soften the eyes, the corners of the eyes, and we soften the eyeballs back into the head a little bit, into the eye sockets. And the throat, we soften the throat back toward the back of the neck. we are relaxed, we are hopefully alert, and our body is still upright. So there's a little bit maybe more effort than if you were lying down. But you use as little effort as you can. Breathing and observing. A little smile comes into your face. And each time you inhale, you relax into it. Every time you exhale, you are conscious of letting go of what you don't need. It might be stress, might be just, stuff that comes into your body and leaves your body again. You're letting go of as much of that as you can, especially whatever comes in with the breath. And each time you exhale, you're aware of a cleansing of what we don't need. Could be in the form of something like carbon dioxide. It could be other stuff that comes in with the breath that we're letting go of. It could be thoughts or emotions. Each breath, reestablish your willingness to let go of what you don't need. Inhale and exhale and let it go. So bringing the hands together, honoring ourselves and honoring everyone in our lives, in our consciousness. Trusting that those who know more than we do are doing what needs to be done, and that in staying home, we are doing what needs to be done, doing our part to keep the country safe, to keep other people and ourselves safe, breathing and observing. And we're honoring that each one of us has our own challenges. Some might be physical challenges, some might be emotional challenges, some might be mental challenges. And that we wish each other the best that can be possible in all those realms. And that we might each dig into ourselves way far deep in our inner resources and find the strength that comes and the relaxation that comes from being equanimous in the midst of whatever else arises, staying even, though the world might not feel like it is particularly balanced at the moment, still within ourselves, feeling balanced and calm. Namaste. All right, I just wanted to talk to you about this article that I'm sending with the video. It gives you tips for six yogic tips to help boost immunity. The first one is to gargle. So if you go out and you go to the store or someplace public, come back, wash your hands, and gargle with salt water, about a half teaspoon of salt in warm water. You might add apple cider vinegar to it too. And you can gargle a couple of times a day, even if you don't go out. It's good for the throat and the immune system, and it's antiviral. Then you can wash out your eyes at times, especially early in the morning. Wash out your eyes. Splashing cool water into your eyes is very relaxing. And it activates the vagus nerve, our old friend, the vagus nerve, that it helps us to find calmness in the midst of everything. So at the sink, you cup your hands with cool water and you splash it quickly you fill up the sink and you splash the water into your face about 7 times. And you release any excess water and take a breath. And then do it again. They say to do it 3 times. This person says to do it 3 times. This is Christine Weber, who wrote this article. Then you can wash out your nose. You can use a neti pot or use one of those squeezy things from the drugstore, which will empty out your nose. You can use a 1/4 teaspoon to 8 ounces of body temperature water. And if you don't have a neti pot or one of those little squeeze things, you can put the water in your hand and sniff it up into the nostril and then push it back out again. And do that several times on each side. Until your nostrils feel clear. They say she says if you sniff too hard, it can sting, so be careful. Also, too much salt can make it sting. Then after the nose is dry, you can take a little nasya oil. It's spelled in the article, which you probably don't have, so, you can use coconut oil or pure sesame oil, untoasted. You can take just a few drops. I think you can use olive oil too. You can take a few drops and put it inside the nose. And it gives you a protective barrier against viruses and bacteria. So all of those oils are antibacterial, antiviral, antimicrobial. And then it's a good thing to lube up in other ways too. So she suggested mustard oil, but you could use other things that make your lungs feel open and good, like eucalyptus oil. Eucalyptus comes to mind. So you can put it on your chest. It has a tendency to kill off any microbes, and it reduces congestion. And use a little oil of your choice on your legs, arms, torso after a shower. Then developing trust. Mental hygiene is equally important, she says, and part of that includes not bombarding yourself with endless news cycles, and yet staying informed so that you know what your you know what's happening in the world and you know what is expected of you. If what we're supposed to stay home, we're reminded to stay at home. Recently, we were reminded to wear a mask. And I think those things are important. If you don't have a mask, I'm making masks right now. You can write back to me and ask me for a mask. All right. So then the idea of trust. This is called Shraddha. And Shraddha is trusting, and often it's about trusting in the yogic process, that's going to help you to be in a better place with things. But there's also at the moment trusting scientists, and that the scientists and the CDC are going to figure this stuff out. And we're so fortunate because we have Hopkins working on things with our local government, our state government. All right, so trusting, and at the same time, doing the smart things for yourself, getting enough sleep, and eating well, and making sure that you have practices that you do daily, keeping out some kind of routine. Ultimately, the article suggests that the universe is mostly a benevolent place, and that we can trust in that. Or for her, she trusts in that. And then number 6 is do yoga. Keep practicing. Don't let fear keep you from practicing. Fear will interrupt your practice, prevent your practice. So try to stay with your practice, doing a little bit of yoga every once in a while. Do a pose. It'll help you to be calmer. And drink lots of water to keep the fascia hydrated and happy, and move slowly and mindfully, and that will keep the fascia hydrated and happy. You can do those little meditations that we do at the beginning of class as well. We're just paying attention to the inner and outer experience, observing without judgment. So, and I suggest that until all this stuff dies down, make sure to take some time every day for yourself. Turn off the news, do a little cleansing, like some of these ideas. Breathe deeply, maybe do a pose or two, meditate, laugh, smile, even if you don't feel like it. Just let that little smile come into your face, so small no one feels it, no one sees it, but you feel it. And let that smile guide you into a calm place. All right, that's the end. I hope you all are well, and I hope you have fun with the videos. Namaste. I love you.